Hello and welcome to our interim presentation, where we will be telling you about the product we chose, a hair trimmer. We are Team 7, which consists of Linus, Noah, myself, Samuel, Anthony, and Graham. So the product we chose to do was a hair trimmer, and that's a motorized device that allows people to cut their own hair at home or quickly and easily. It usually has several attachments or different blade guards that change the distance between the clippers and the head or body, which allows you to change the length of hair that you're cutting. This device is fairly useful because it allows people to quickly cut their hair, and it also means you don't have to go to the hair salon and pay someone money to cut your own hair. And it works by a motor spins, and then this reciprocates a blade, and the hair gets caught between the reciprocating blade and the fixed blade, and then this cuts the hair. So here you can see this is a breakdown of all the parts within our device. It's got a main top and bottom case, and then we have two buttons, one to power on the device, and then one to change the blade length. And then that's connected to a spring guide, a slider, and a piece that holds the blade. And here you can see the electronics and the motors. The motor spins, and then that is fed into an adapter that makes the blade reciprocate. And you can see the fixed blade and the reciprocating blade are held within the blade cover, and that's where the hair is cut. And then you have your blade guard that slides over the top. Uh, the blade cover is made so it can come off, so you can replace those blades when they get dull.
When thinking about our customers, our target market is really just people with hair. There's probably an emphasis on men or other individuals who choose to buzz their hair or go for that shorter haircut. Yeah, our primary customers are those who are hairstylists or at-home haircut trimmers, and people who are trying to get their haircut in that fashion. We estimate about 450,000 hair trimmers per year in this category of customers. Our secondary customers include hospitals and beautician schools, which often have to use their trimmers to shave patients' bodies prior to surgeries or for educational purposes. We estimate that about 50,000 hair trimmers a year are sold to this type of customer. We created the following fast diagram to analyze the functions of a hair trimmers. The overall function would be to trim hair, followed by the subcategories of positioning hair, cutting hair, and assuring dependability, convenience, and enhancing the product and pleasing the senses. As far as cutting the hair, we need to use electricity and create a cutting force. Within assuring dependability, we wanted to prevent cuts, which involves maintaining control and containing barriers or protections, and securing the assembly. Assuring convenience, having some indicator for mode or position, and enhancing the product would include controlling power and positioning, as well as a sanitary restriction.
Here are the two fishbone diagrams representing assembly 1 and 2. They both start with the bottom case. The main difference between the diagrams is the decision to install the motor before or after the blade subassembly. This results in two different assembly sequences, where one is waiting on the motor to be installed, while the other is able to have the blade installed first. After the blade subassembly and motor is installed in both scenarios, the blade length slider subassembly is then installed. Following the blade subassembly is the power button, then the top cover, then the blade guard. This results in the final hair trimmer assembly. For the assembly sequence, there were a number of criteria that we analyzed. For ease of handling, both sequence 1 and sequence 2 have the same difficulty of holding the small objects. For ease of locating parts, sequence 2 scores above sequence 1, since for sequence 2, the motor is able to be installed and aligned with the blade subassembly already installed. For ease of fastening and joining, sequence 2 again scores above sequence 1. This is because of the ability to already have the blades installed when the motor is then installed. The blade subassembly will assist in holding the motor in the correct orientation while the electronics are fastened to the body. For ease of testing subassemblies, both have the same level of difficulty. Both sequences need to have most of their components installed before testing of subassemblies can take place. Finally, for ease of assembling in parallel, sequence 1 has an advantage over sequence 2. Sequence 1 can have the motor installed into the bottom case, while the blade subassembly and guard assembly is assembled. However, in assembly 2, the blade assembly first needs to be installed into the bottom case before any components, such as the electronics and motor, can be installed.
The function component mapping matrix sorts which parts perform which functions, some parts performing multiple functions. The bill of materials lists how much each part costs based off of material processing, assembly, and tooling. And putting all this information together, we have the quad chart, which shows which parts have the highest manufacturing cost and the highest functional importance. And this will allow us to determine which parts we need to redesign or eliminate in our final product.
Our functional differentiation table shows functions of our hair trimmer that are shared by customer groups and the ones that are different between customer groups. In the shared side, we have positioning the hair, creating cutting force, using electricity, containing barriers, maintaining control, securing assembly, indicating the mode, and controlling power. And then some differences between customer groups are variety of customizability for haircut length and level of sterilization necessary. In our component commonality table, aspects of the hair trimmer that are part of the platform include the top cover, power button, blade holder, electronics and motors, reciprocation adapter, bottom case, retaining clip, reciprocating blade, fixed blade, and blade cover. And then parts of our hair trimmers that are modular and therefore change between customer bases are rubber sleeves, spring guides, sliders, blade guards, blade length buttons, and the spring within the spring guide and slider. Our primary customer model includes our primary customers are salons and barbers and self-haircutting people. This allows differentiation of blade length for multiple different styles of haircut. And a secondary customer would be medical facilities that would use these to cut hair very short before surgeries or other medical operations. And so there's a one-cut length because it applies to everyone in that setting. Another aspect of our component design, the primary customers do not have any extra sanitary protections. However, the secondary customers, the medical facilities, will have the possibility for a disposable rubber cover to go on the outside of the hair trimmer so that it is more sanitary for medical purposes. Our assembly sequence diagram shows that all of the common parts between them can be assembled first. So the bottom case, the electronics and reciprocation parts, power buttons, retaining clips, reciprocating blades, fixed blade, and blade cover can all be added before any differentiation needs to occur between our two customer groups. And then after all of the common parts are assembled, we can add a rubber cover for medical purposes and add the blade length and spring guides to allow adjustable blade depth for different haircut styles for our primary customer group, allowing us to make two different products with very late differentiation.